So yeah, let's start with like something about yourself currently, what you're working on, and what technologies you're using. So since you mentioned like MySQL, so there is a functionality called cursor in MySQL, right? So what is that?
I haven't worked on it much yet, but I know about it theoretically. Like this is kind of a temporary area, like in a memory, when we are executing a query. S-
Okay. Okay, so can you write like a query or something if you can?
for cursor,
Using cursor. Yeah. You
uh,
can just share any editor screen.
okay. Actually, I haven't worked on cursor yet, so that's why I said like I know about it theoretically only.
Okay. Yeah. So there will be a string S and a dictionary of strings like word dictionary input. So we have to just return true or false if S can be segmented into a space generated sequence. Like we have to insert spaces in string S such that all the words formed after spaces are present in the dictionary. For example, if you see apple, pen, apple, so I will just add a space after apple, then pen, then apple. So now there are three words formed, apple, pen, and apple, and both are present in the word dictionary.
Okay.
Right? So output will be true. In another example, if you see cats and OG, right? So cat is so you cannot add spaces in this word input S such that all the words are present. Cats present, then and is present, but OG is not present. Right?
Okay, but dog is present.
Dog is present, then an is not present.
So
A की बाद में we have to add spaces. After adding spaces, all the words should be present.
okay, so cats and dog, if we are comparing, then there is no N in the dictionary.
हाँ हाँ yes. So
Okay,
if you go for cat, like जैसे cat is present, sand is present, but not OG, right? If SAN is present in the like instead of sand, अगर डिक्शनरी में SAND की जगह पे SAN होता, तो this would have been returned like this would have returned true.
okay, got it.
Yeah.
So, I was thinking of adding, like getting a combination of words, first of all. Uh, right, like let's say if I can start with this string, then I can start with uh, like I can add spaces, let's say on each two characters. Like after each two characters, I can start with that, but it is not going to work because it's not going to be same size. So what I can do is I can think a bit more. I can use one more way. I think I'm not sure, but I can use uh,
हाँ. Yes, what are you thinking?
so actually I'm just thinking. Give me a minute.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Says that. So let's assume apple pen apple is there, and we start iterating from A, not A, from B, and we divide to two parts. Check. It is in the present in dictionary. So 0 to and I to size. So if it is true, that means it is done. Otherwise, okay, I can use one there is one obvious way which is dynamic programming, for which I may have to think a bit more, because that is going to be more thinkable approach. I can use one way like divide it into two parts. Um,
Okay.
like I was saying previously, like let's say I am iterating and I got this AP and then this complete string, the rest string, on which I will again do the recursive approach, like we'll choose another a particular breakpoint in between and then break it into two parts, so and so on till I find each word matching with the word dictionary, right? So that can be done. Like here, we just have to match if there is nothing left in the input string after breaking it down, and it should all match with the word dictionary. So here I can see like apple is being repeated twice, so I can have a data structure, let's say hash set, so that it will only compare apple once, because that's the requirement, right? So
Okay.
apple and pen, if these two are getting compared and they return true, that means that I don't have to compare the other apple. I can return true in that case, and this one is done.
So how will you like deduce that the other one is Apple? So like if it would have been APPL and not E.
hmm So what I will do is initially, like in your case, we have array here, word dictionary as array, right? So
Mm.
instead of having an array, what I will do is I will add it to first of all a set. I was talking about this apple being repeated here. Can it be possible?
No, no, no. Dictionary is unique, right? You can just think about a dictionary that we have.
Okay. Okay, so in that case, there is nothing to worry about in that case. I can just iterate over this string and then break it down into two parts. If the first part is equal, like let's say if I break it down to apple at this index, then only I have to check the other one, otherwise I will not bother, right?
Okay.
So let's say if I'm starting from this index, AP is not in the dictionary, so I will move on. I will then check APP is there or not, then I will move on. Then once I find the first match as apple, then the rest of the string has to be break down into two parts to get compared. So now the string will be pen apple. In that case, I will start from again PE, so it's not there, but pen is there. So in that case, pen, since pen is done, then apple has to be compared again. So again, there is a loop for breaking it down into two parts. So then again, it will start from AP, then APP, then apple. I hope this logic will work.
I didn't get it actually. So
Okay,
can you just repeat it again once?
sure.
Yeah.
I can take an example here. So I'm using apple pen apple here, right? So I will start from two words at a time, as in two characters at a time, right? So from my loop, I will start iterating from this. So it is going to compare if AP is in dictionary or not.
Okay.
So it is not in dictionary. So what will happen is it will continue the loop, right? Then it will continue the loop for APP. APP is not again in dictionary, so then it will again continue the loop. So now it is apple, like without E. It is again not in dictionary, then it will go to apple. Now it found the first match. In that case, our string is divided into apple and pineapple. So this one is done, and for this pineapple, it is going to be a recursive call towards the same method. So now it is going to compare pineapple, right? So in this case, again, there is a loop which will start with two characters. So initially it will start with PE. So P is not in the dictionary, so it is going to ignore this. Then it is going to go to pen. Now pen is there, so then it is going to break it down into two parts. Apple is going to be in the next recursive call. Now the string is going to be apple, and again it will start with two characters, and so on. It will do the iteration.
Okay, so if I change your string a little bit, so instead of apple,
Yeah.
app is also present in the dictionary, a double p.
Okay. APP is present. Okay. So in that case, APP is here, so it is going to get matched. So in that case, this is going to be the next string. So in that case,
Right.
we won't iterate, and I will copy this. So now this is the next string. So now it will start with LE, like two characters at a time. So LE is not in this in the dictionary, so it is going to move on. Then it is going to compare LEP. LEP is
Hmm.
again not there, so it is going to move on. So any characters starting with LE is not in the dictionary, so it is going to return false in that case,
Right.
right? So
So now, yeah.
yeah, so it is going to keep iterating till the last character E. So once it is not going to find anything, it is going to return false.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is going to be the logic here.
Nee, but the output will be true for this, right?
Um, why?
Because in the dictionary I added anything. In the dictionary I added a double p.
Okay,
But still you can divide, segment your string into apple space pan space apple. I
right.
haven't changed the input, right? I
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
added
yeah, yeah.
some
Got
more
it.
matching
Got.
words in the dictionary.
Got it. Got it. Okay, sorry. I was in the recursive call. So in that case, once this app's iteration is not good enough, then it is going to come back here again, right?
Okay.
So in that case,
Yes.
it is going to start with the next one, appl. So it will go on. And once it is going to find them, like once the iteration of each and every character is done, then only it is going to return false. Otherwise, I'm going to keep doing the recursive calls. So it is going to find this one. So in that case, it will return true.
ठीक है, so can you just write down a block of code of recursion
Sure.
and just the method? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Um, ticked. So here I will be getting the as a string and the array. All right. So first I need the loop. And plus plus. So now, so I first have to find out. In that case, I have to iterate again. So now it will start with I, comma, the length, which is start length. So if this is true, then return true. Otherwise, return false. So yeah, this is going to be the okay. One minute. I need termination step. So if s dot length goes to 0. Yeah, so this is going to be the code.
Okay, so one more thing. So why we are just considering two letters? Like why we are starting with two and why not one? A
Um,
can also be present in the dictionary, single character.
right again, we can do that, but here let's say in substring, so it is going to be 0 comma 1 in the first iteration. So in that case, it is going to get a,
Hmm.
right? So I think I have told you something, but again, it is going to go with one character, like start with one character.
हाँ मतलब you have implemented with the
Right,
first character, but
right.
you told earlier for the
Yes,
two
yes,
characters.
yes. Actually, I was initially thinking of uh, pairing, so that was the wrong thing.
Okay, so okay, now you told that you can initially that you can do this with DP as well. What
Yes.
changes will you give to the code?
So actually, DP is going to be little difficult because in that case we have to think of possible combinations like if we are, let's say, talking about cats and dogs, so it is going to compare each and every possible combination which can be true in our word dictionary.
उसमें you have the profit now because again the words are
Right,
repeated,
right, right,
right?
right,
Then you have the profit because you have already deduced that.
right.
Uh,
Case I can start with the logic, like I can do the start with or maybe the index of 0, like index caret 0. So I can check caret 0 and caret the last uh, length, and then I can check if they both are matching with the one that we are able to, like, which we are trying to find. So there is going to be a simple comparison in that case.
Okay, so one more thing here is ki you can take as much space you want, but you need to be like very time efficient.
Efficient.
Time
Okay.
efficient because if you go by this, then you will be comparing A and E with every input,
Right,
and this input can be many a number of strings, so it won't
right.
be time efficient.
Uh, True,
And
true.
string internally does what is it will go one by one.
Right, right. Index by
So
index
it will be n
also.
into maximum number of characters, right? So
Right,
it will
right.
be kind of n square complexity.
Okay. So space we can use, right? You said.
Yeah, space or pre-computation is allowed here. Sorry, one second. Space and pre-computation you can do, like you can build a knowledge base or something, but you have to very efficient.
Actually, I'm not really good with the tree or trie data structures, so it is getting hard for me to deduce a logic.
Any other basic data structure?
Yeah, yeah.
Any other basic data structure that you
Yep,
can?
yep, yep. Thinking about that. So I can use hash table or hash map with like key value combination, and I can map it through suffix. So let's say apple is there. So in that case, apple can be stored like with e as apple. Let me copy this. Right, so this can be le also, and then this can be PLE and apple, right? So if in that case I just have to create these combinations, and
So
once
here only suffix is sorted, but what about the prefix then?
um so in that case also we can do the similar thing, right? So like I said, we can do the same thing as a apple. Like this. Hello, hello.
Yeah, hi Prashant.
Yeah. So I'm saying this is going to be your prefix combination, and this is going to be the suffix combinations.
Okay, so we'll be storing like both.
Right.
Okay, so like can we just combine both of them? Just think of combine. So like
Yeah, yeah.
if A
We
is the suffix, then what can be the possibility of prefix?
If A is the suffix, A is
No,
the
A is
suffix.
prefix. A is the prefix. Then what are the possibilities of suffix?
So till here it can be the suffix, right?
Right.
So in that case, I have to store this as a key and these as values.
Okay, no, so I was just asking to combine you so that you can just get get the query's result in just one O of one. So like if I'm saying if A is the prefix,
Hmm.
then what are the possibilities of suffix that you mentioned the other keys?
Right,
Like
right.
how can we combine? Matlab, like it's easy if we only need prefix, then it's very easy. Like you will just if we need suffix, it's very easy. We'll just form the structure one. Okay.
Hmm.
If we have a query of only prefix, then the structure two. So how we can combine both of them?
Okay. Actually, it is going to be O of 1 in this scenario also. Just let me give you a demonstration. So, assuming this query here, that is what we are going to search. So first, I will search for A in the data structure. So A is going to get out in O of 1, right? So this is apple, which is going to come out. Then for E, I will again check. And this has to be an and condition. When both of them are being found in the data structure, then only I have to return true. So if E is also there, then I can return apple. Otherwise, what I can think of is like adding something in between these A and apple, like adding a symbol or something like an identifier through which we can identify if this was a combination of prefix or suffix.
Okay, but like you found out that okay, A is the prefix, you got apple. Okay, so if your key is A, then apple and app will also come. Like, what will be your value?
So if A is the prefix, in that case, apple is going to come.
No, why not app? App also is starting with A.
Okay, about this one.
Yeah.
But again, then I'm also checking the second condition, E, right?
No,
So,
I'm not saying. I'm saying ki, okay, you built a dictionary. So here value cannot be single, first of all.
mhm.
Value will be a list, right?
Um, Actually, this is a key value pair that I have written here. So A is
No, so
mapped to,
key value. What about the app then? App is also starting with A. If
okay,
A
in
is
that,
the prefix, then Apple and app both should be the value, right?
right, right. So, okay, okay. Got your point now.
So like if M is the suffix, M is the prefix, then mouse, microphone, and mine, three values will be there.
Okay, so what if I put something like this, right? This can work in that case.
Apple, what does it mean?
So let's say I'm getting this. Uh, so it means that let's say I'm searching for this string. So for A, it is going to go with the index A. But okay, wait a minute. I have to map it. Key value pair. So there are two things right now which I can think of. So first is this one, like you said, A is going to be Apple also and app also, right? So they both are in a list like this. So here we are going to take both of them and check if they have suffix also as e. Getting my
Okay.
point. So let's say I got this a in the data structure, right?
Hmm.
Then I will get the value, which is going to be a list. So in this list, I have what it takes, right? So I am not going to check if that is true or not. I will go with the suffix now. I will go with E, and in the E, right now we have only one, Apple. So in that case, it will be easier that Apple is in the list also. So in that case, I can return Apple.
Okay.
Right? Another logic is to combine both of them, A and E, as in prefix and suffix into a single string. So in that case, what we can do is we can split that in that case. So let's say I write, uh, um, what should I use? Let's say at the rate symbol is I have used, and this at symbol I'm using for prefix, right? And for suffix, I'm using something like this. Let's say dollar. So in that case, I can check if both of them are there in a single string and they both are prefix and suffix, like before these symbols. So then also I can check if they hold it true or not.
Okay. Okay, so if A at the rate, then why you need A again? You can go with PPLE. Now the remaining words will be PPLE.
So what I'm doing is now I'm doing like this. So A at APPLE and this E are in a same string. They both are combined. Let's say by a separator. It can be a comma, right? So this is in a single value. So when any query is going to find if they are there, so first they have to split. When they split, in that case, they will see apple in both these prefix and suffix. When that is true, then I will return apple.
Hmm. Well, why not very easily? Chalo, okay. Okay, Prashant, let's move on to the next question.
Sure.
Sure. So another question is like you get the transaction data, like okay, a number of transactions happening for a number of customers, okay,
Mm-hmm.
on daily basis. So when any transaction happens, you get like an API call or a Kafka event. Okay,
Okay.
ki this transaction has happened, like this debit or credit has happened for this user.
Okay.
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 So now what as your service or as your as a feature, you have to provide an API okay,
Hmm.
to the user that will request total debit and credit on various parameters like daily debit and credit. Okay, like he can ask like, okay, give me third of February total debit and credit.
Okay.
Okay,
Hmm.
for any user. He can ask for monthly debit and credit, like give me January total debit
Hmm.
or total credit.
Hmm.
So you get where is the source? Like you are getting all the transaction events in the Kafka.
Okay.
Okay, any transaction that happens in the transaction system, you get the details after the transaction is success.
Okay.
Okay,
Hmm.
so when any transaction happens, you get various like customer ID is the input. You can just write it down. Okay, so what you get in the Kafka event is customer ID,
Hmm.
amount,
Hmm.
and one is indicator whether it's a debit or a credit.
So, okay. In.
Okay,
Hmm.
and the signature of the API is customer ID,
Hmm.
customer ID, API signature, and day. One is day,
Hmm.
like date basically date
Okay.
of which they want. Okay, one is type basically which type of data they want. They want weekly, or they want daily, or they want monthly.
And date is what in that case?
And the date you can remove.
Date I can remove. Okay. So,
So type values will be daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. Four
okay.
values. Okay.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
now you have 1 year of data or 2 years of data down the lane or 3-4 years of data down the lane.
Hmm.
So when user asks for daily, okay, you
Hmm.
have to provide him like it's in your config like 2 months of daily report. If user asks for weekly, then you will provide like 20 weeks data to him.
Okay.
It's configurable at your end, like at back end, it's configurable that how many daily records you have to provide. Like past कितने दिन का daily का record you have to provide. Like 100 records you can provide. Last 100 days का daily. Okay, weekly last 20 weeks का you can provide. Monthly last 12 weeks, 12 months का you can provide. Yearly you can provide last 5 years का.
Hmm.
So yes, how are you going to proceed with the system?
So, the transaction information that I'm getting from Kafka, is it being stored in the
That
database?
that you have to design.
Okay, that I
It's
have
a
to
design
design.
question. Yeah. So how will you store the data in such a way that you can fulfill the user's requirement? You got the question, right? What you are
Right,
getting the input and what the user wants.
right. So in that case, customer ID is going to be my key while I'm putting the data into the database, and amount and indicator. So these three values are going to be the column in the database table, right? So that I'm going to store whenever there is a transaction happening. Is this okay till now?
Okay, so you will be storing customer ID as a key, and what will you be storing?
So let's say primary key is my customer ID. No, sorry. This is like an identifier. So I'm not storing this as key, rather this is the same column, customer ID in the table. So there is going to be auto-generated primary key for this entire row.
Okay, so you will be storing all this data in the customer ID. Okay. So when any requests come, what you will be aggregating over that? Like how
So
will be filling
sure,
the
sure.
request?
So I know that my customer ID is coming. So with that, I can simply do a select query for this customer ID. Let's say there are n number of rows coming for this customer ID. Let's say 1, 2, 3. So I can
Hmm.
write it down. Let's say for 1, 2, 3, I am getting 10 rows of data. So this 10 rows of data hold three columns, customer ID, amount, and indicator. But I don't need customer ID, and I certainly don't need indicator because you said that is not required. If that is required, I can get
That
these two
is
values.
required, right? Indicator like you have to provide daily total debit and credit.
Okay,
Okay,
so
and you will also be getting transaction date here
transaction
in
date.
the in the Kafka event. when this transaction happened.
So let's say date is also here, right? Something like this. So I got for customer ID 123, I got 10 rows. So in that case, I will select amount, date, and indicator, right? From my table, and these are in a list, like these are 10 rows coming, right? So now I need to provide this information in a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly format. So that you said is configurable. So let's say the customer chooses daily. So in that case,
Here is a issue in this. What if the user does all time transaction in a single day?
that's okay. So if he is doing all the transaction in a single day, so again, let's say 10 transactions are happening. So these rows will come through the query,
Hmm.
right? Now, again, if he chooses daily as the type for fetching the data, so in that case, the day should be the one on which we did the transaction or on which he is trying to fetch the data.
So you will be handling this like, yeah.
So like I can do a system local time or I can do the time from which like the API is requesting.
So is it scalable? Because there will be n number of customers and a customer can do n number of transactions. Think of a merchant, शॉप वाला है, उसके
Hmm.
एंड पे तो बहुत ट्रांजैक्शंस होती हैं डेबिट की, राइट?
Right?
So if a user, if a customer is a shopkeeper, so
Hmm.
there will be like thousands or might be more than that number of transactions daily happening to him.
Hmm.
So if he asks for the daily aggregator report, your API will take more than like seconds to aggregate that.
So I can use cache in that case. Let's say I have cache for the daily duration that I have like set it for a particular duration. Let's say for each daily, if he is trying to find out the daily transaction, he can get that from the cache. Or the frequent one, I can keep that in the cache, frequently accessed one.
So why not you redesign your structure, because ये तो ट्रांजैक्शन सिस्टम पे भी मिल जाता ना डेटा, तो हम वहीं से सर्व कर देते हैं. व्हाई वी डिजाइन अ न्यू सिस्टम? बिकॉज जब ट्रांजैक्शन सिस्टम में डेटा कैसे स्टोर होता है, द वे यू आर स्टोरिंग द डेटा,
Mm-hmm.
सिंपल रिकॉर्ड ऑफ एवरीथिंग, राइट?
Mm-hmm.
तो हम एपीआई वहीं से पावर कर देते हैं.
Okay.
Because just imagine your this table will be very much bigger in size, because there are many number of customers who can do many number of transactions,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you give this select star, you will make that indexable, this customer ID is indexable, right? And when the user wants only debit transactions, then what will you do? What you are doing at the application level is you are segregating debit and credit as well, along with the date. So when it comes to week, when it comes to month, it will be very difficult for you to do at application level. ओके, मंथ की हम बात करते हैं तो मंथ में 30 दिन होते हैं. तीस
Mm-hmm.
दिन का डेटा आप निकाल निकाल के एक एक मंथ में ऐड करोगे, कितनी नंबर ऑफ रिकॉर्ड्स आएंगे? इट्स नॉट स्केलेबल, राइट? इट्स नॉट फिजिबल डिजाइन.
Okay. In that case, like I can use streams or maybe big data concepts.
I just wanted to ask, like, how you will be designing the this storage of the data.
So instead of putting
I'm
it
more
into the
concerned about that.
yeah, so instead of putting this into the database, I can put this into a file. Let's say chunks of files. And for processing those files, I can use let's say Apache Spark, and it can do the partition based on the efficiency that we require, and depending on that it can process each file really fast and then provide the specific information that we want from it. Like that could be scalable and efficient because we don't have to go to the database.
Yeah, but Prashant, again, the same question is, how will you be storing the data in a file? That's it from my end. Anything else you want to ask?
um, just maybe the answer for this question if you can.
So there is no specific. answer to this question. Everything like for a small scale thing, you can store it like this. You can do the aggregation at runtime. But when the user base or when the transaction base is too much, you can't do that runtime aggregation. You have to pre-aggregate it, the data. Okay, so what if we store like this, ki, okay, daily total credit and debit, and we store like we create different tables, like one for daily, one for monthly, one for weekly, one for yearly. First
Mm-hmm.
structure can be this, or other can be like you can store different columns for a same customer, like row for a customer for daily will be one, like you can store daily data of a customer. So when any transaction comes for the same day, you can just aggregate total debit and credit. At least do a daily aggregation in the table and pre-calculate it and just store it in the table, so that when user comes, you have to just if he asks for the daily, it's very clear. If he asks for the weekly, you can store the week number in any other column, like okay, this day 8th of February comes under like week 2, so you can just store week number 2. So when you are doing any aggregation, you have to just like that aggregation will be very small, because you have already done total debit, total credit. So you have to just add up where week number is equal to 2,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this, like you have to pre-aggregate. You can't do runtime aggregation.
Got it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So something like that, matlab something like that. There is no specific answer to that, but yeah, something like that structure will work for this case.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.